Hello. Yeah, hope you people are able to see my screen. So in last class, what we discussed is installation of Java in your local system, right? So today we'll be going to discuss the introduction of Java, and we'll be going to discuss the below concepts, whatever I'm writing here. So what is class and what is object, reference, okay? And I'll be going to discuss Java features. And before going to discuss all these things, we need to discuss why we learning Java. So that means why Java and what is Java. Okay. So in the introduction, I'll be covering why we are going to learn Java and what is exactly the Java. And if you want to learn the Java, you need some things. So those things are nothing but class, object, reference, and some features. And we'll be going to discuss something like some terminologies. Okay, Java terminologies we can say. Okay, so these are Java terminologies, Java features, and we can say like one simple program, simple program. Okay, after this program, and we'll be discussing something like compilation and execution. And final thing is we'll be going to discuss that is something like static and instance information. Okay, so this is what agenda for today's class, and we'll be going one by one. Okay, so so we know that like who I mean if comes to Java introduction, so some people know that history about something like history, that is that history, the history is nothing but, so this Java language invented James Gosling, right? So we can say that part here, Java is invented by James Gosling. So this is small introduction only. And so Java is invented by James Gosling, for whom like I mean from where? So from Sun Microsystems. Okay. So this is invented by this James Gosling from Sun Microsystems in 1991. Okay. But the first version came at the first version Java first version came at 1995. The first available version. Okay. First available version Java is 1995. That is Java 1.0 we can say. Okay. Java 1.0 we can say. The first available version of Java 1.0 is in 1995. So after that, I mean currently who is acquired these things means Sun Microsystems was acquired by the Oracle, right? Hope you people know that. So currently who is handling this Java means it is Oracle, right? So Sun Microsystems was acquired Oracle in 2010. Okay, so this is very simple history we can say, and this is I mean this is enough to understand like when it is started and who invented and who is handling now. So this is very small information we can say. This is what history of Java. Okay, now the first question, if you want to learn anything, we need to understand the things like why we are learning the concepts, right? So why we are learning the languages as well, right? So for that, anything if you want to learn, first you need to understand why it is and what it is, where we'll be going to use this particular concept. So that is how we need to understand the concepts, right? So now, so we need to understand that why Java, right? So the first question is why Java? So we can say Java. So people know that, right? It is some language, right? So it is language. So this language is invented for what? For what they invented this? So Java is a programming language. I'll come to that programming language. So programming language, okay, and it is invented for. It is invented for developing web applications. Not only web applications, you can you can develop normal applications as well. But the main reason what is it is invented for developing web applications, we can say. Okay, so this is the main purpose. Currently people are doing what in the industries means people are developing the applications only, right? So that applications we are using, what is those applications? Something like any application nowadays, net bankings, you're like any other hospitalities, like any other applications we can say. So that applications will be developing by some languages, right? Not only Java. So this is one of the language. So Java is a programming language and it is invented for developing web application. So same like this, Python is a programming language and scripting language you can say, and it is invented for developing web application. So like that you will be having in the market so many applications like .NET and PHP, what we discussed like Python. So these all are languages only. So these many languages are there, but why we are choosing this Java? So we'll be understanding slowly. But why the Java is here means Java is a programming language and it is invented for developing web applications. This is the main concern why these people are invented. Okay, and I mean, when comes to why only Java, so you will be understanding by using, I mean, once we'll be going to the picture like uh, what is the purpose, why only we are be going to choose Java language here and all. So that will be going slowly in the purpose. So where we'll be going to use these things and what we'll be achieving if I'm using Java. So that will be understanding slowly. But our concern is here why. So for developing web applications, web applications comes under your net banking, right? As you discussed, some if you, I mean, any mobile, if you have any mobile applications, right, like Facebook, like Gmail, like any other applications. So I mean, first of all, again, you need to understand what is an application, right? Application is something like that only. Gmail is an application, Facebook is an application, and your net banking is an application. So if you want to book a bus ticket, so we'll be going for APSRTC, Redbus, Abibus, right? So like that, you will be having something like some for your requirement. They're providing some through web. They're providing some, I mean, something to you, right? That's something you can say application. For developing those applications, we should have a language. So here we are choosing a Java. So why Java means Java is a programming language and it is invented for developing web applications, we can say. Okay. So now, so my next question is, what is Java? Or definition, you can say. What is Java? Or you can say it's a definition. Okay. So what is the definition of Java? See, if anyone is come to you and asking the first question, what is Java, right? Normally, if you are learning Java, so people are asking why you are learning Java and what is Java, like that only. So we can tell that the first question is, the first answer is you can tell this, and the second answer is now we'll be going to discuss. See, if I asked multiple people like, I mean, I asked multiple people like, what is exactly the Java, and people are saying simply Java is a language, Java is a technology. See, people are saying in that way only. But here we need to understand what exactly it is. So that things I'll be going to discuss here. Okay. So so Java is simple. Okay. Java is simple. high level platform independent robust multi-threaded dynamic and finally you can say object oriented and object oriented programming language. Okay, see, so you may think like, sir, these all are features, right? Yes, these all are features only, but we can say whenever someone is asking what is Java means, Java is simple high level platform independent robust multi-threaded dynamic and object oriented programming language with security. Okay, with security. Okay, so this is how we can define a Java actually. Okay, so why we need to define in this way? See, simply you can say object oriented programming language, right? But why we need to define all these things? Whenever it's a features means it can do these many things, right? So Java can do these many things, and this is what exactly inside of these particular things. So that is what I mentioned Java features also here. Okay, so then again people are asking, if you say this particular definition, then people are asking how you can say Java is simple and how you can say Java is high level language, what is platform independent robust multi-threaded, what is dynamic here, and object oriented programming language. Like that people are asking so many questions on how you will be achieving the security. See, if someone is asked one question and you will be giving the answer like this, again they will be getting so many questions like this. What is simple and how you can say it is very simple? Like, I mean, how you can say Java is simple? They should have some proof, right? So how you can say it is high level? So what is the proof for this? So what is high level first? And platform independent? How you? I mean, again, for each and everything, how you can say these things? So if I'm saying something, Java is this, you should tell what is this and all, right? So we'll go by one things. Okay. First of all, we need to go with simple. Okay. So you can assume that, I mean, just you can consider these are features of Java as well. So first I will go with the simple. What is simple? See, Java is very easy to learn, and the syntax is very simple. Okay, Java is very easy and very easy to learn, because I mean generally I can tell to everyone, like, say, I can say simply, do you know English? Yes. Then you are eligible to learn Java language. That is what I can give the things to them. So anyone can learn very easily this Java language. Why? Because the syntax is very simple, and the things are, once you will be going to the um, things, right, how you will be doing the things, then you will be understanding how much it is very easy and all. So again I can say, if you know English, yes, you are eligible to learn Java language. So some people BTech, I mean some of my friends BTech friends are asking, I'm triple E and and I'm from ECE. Can I learn these things and all easily? So I'm from mechanical. Can I learn these things? Then I can ask only one question, that do you know English? Then they can say yes. Then you are eligible to learn Java. Okay. See, that is how you can learn. If you know English, yes, you can learn Java language very easily. Okay. So Java is very easy to learn, and it is it is very simple because of syntax. It is very simple because of this syntax we can say. Okay, so Next, and what we can say more than this. So actually some other languages, see, if you don't know any C++, that is fine. But if you know C++, see, normally it is easy to learn Java language, but if you know C++ or any C language, so it is very easy to learn actually. So why it is very easy if you know C or C language means, in C or C++ language um, there are something like little when compared to this Java language, there are little complicated concepts are there. So those concepts are removed here actually. So what is that concepts means? Those are something like, see here they removed many complicated. Okay, so they removed many complicated concepts. Those are nothing but pointers, operator overloading, like that. So there is a concept called pointers and operator. Okay, operator overloading. Okay, so this is why this is why Java is simple, we can say. Then people are asking, these are the things because of this Java simple means. If you asked me, I can say whatever the index you have, right, in Java. So what is the index you have in the Java? For example, I have the index like your language fundamentals, your OOPS concepts, your exception handling, string handling, okay, collections, threads, everything, right? These are all concepts. Because of all these concepts, Java is very simple. Okay, so Java is very simple. Why means, because of that index, whatever the concepts we have inside the Java, because of that index also I can say Java is very simple. Okay, so that is what we need to understand. That is one more point. And if there is one more point here we can add. That is nothing but, there is here in here in Java, we can say here in Java, you no need to remove any unreferenced objects. So first of all, you should know what is an object, and then you should know what is a reference, and you should, and after that you need to understand unreferenced object. So for that, it will take some time to understand that reference, unreferenced, and what is exactly unreferenced objects and all. But try to understand here is, if there is any object with unreferenced, normally it is taking some memory in your system. So even though if it is unreferenced object, okay, that unreferenced object, you no need to remove actually. You no need to remove that particular unreferenced object. There is a concept in Java. Okay, there is a concept in Java that particular concept will go and remove if there is any unreferenced objects in your application. Okay, that is nothing but, you no need to remove any unreferenced object, because there is a concept called, because there is a concept there is a concept called GC, you can say, that is called garbage collection in Java. So what is that? Garbage collection in Java. See, you just understand here. You just understand here is, what is garbage. See, the concept is collecting some garbage. So what is garbage? Unreferenced objects is garbage. So it is collecting without without if you are referring or without you are using directly, it will be considering if there is any unreferenced object. So so because of that, what it will be happening inside, so your work is very simple, right? Your work is very smooth. You no need to do, and you no need to collect the garbage and all, and you no need to keep the garbage in your system or in your application. it will be come to that, and it will be going to that particular unreferenced object, and it is removing from the memory. But I will discuss that garbage collection. This is one concept we have in, again, this is where some little bit, I mean, time taking concept. So we'll be going to the garbage collection in some time. Okay. But here what exactly it is doing means, it is removing the unreferenced objects. If you want to know unreferenced object, you should know referenced objects and what is an object and all, right? So that will be going to the next next few minutes. Okay. So now first we'll be going to the concept called, I mean, these things. So just now we completed the concept is simple. So these are, because of all these reasons, we can say Java is simple. Okay. So next I'll be coming to, see, here we are understanding some things, right? So what is Java and definition we are understanding. Here we just gone through the symbol. Now we'll be going to the concept called high level. See, what is high level? What is high level? So do you know what is high level? Okay. See, high level is nothing but your English language. Okay. What is high level? See, high level is nothing but your English language. Okay. So we can say English language. So that English language we can say high level. But system can understand your English language. Your Java language is understanding English language? No. The system cannot understand your English language. Then why they are giving in a high level language? See, why they are giving in a high level language means, first of all, user should understand, right? So then user can do whatever they want to, right? So high level is nothing but English language. So that English language you can say source code. Okay. So that English language you can say it is called source code. So but English language system cannot understand, but what system can understand? So system can understand executable code. Okay. So but from English language or from your source code, how it will be going to executable code? So for that reason, we need to do these two things. Okay. For that reason, we need to do these two things, that is called compilation and execution. Okay. So now your code is there in source code. That source code is in English language, right? So that English language, what you need to do means, you need to do compilation first. So compilation, once it is doing the once we are doing the compilation, it will be converting to what? It will be converting to bytecode. Okay. So after bytecode, how it will be converting means in the form of executable code. In the form of executable code. So here compilation, after compilation, you will be getting compiled code. Okay, compiled code. That compiled code is nothing but bytecode. So after bytecode, it will be going to be a executable code. See, finally, once you you given the source code, after compilation, it will be going to compiled code or bytecode, you can say. And the bytecode, how it will be going to executable code. So here you need to do the, see here what we did, compilation, right? So if after compilation, what we will be achieving? Bytecode. So here what you need to do after bytecode means, the bytecode will be converting. So bytecode, I have a bytecode. That bytecode, what I am doing means execution. So if I am doing execution, then it will be converting to executable code. Okay. If I'm converting this, then it will be giving executable code. Then executable code can, system can understand which language, which code it will be understanding means, system can understand only executable code. Your application will understand only executable code. That executable code, what it will be given means it will be giving output finally. Okay. So what is compilation and what is execution? I will tell you that. Again, how you will be achieving the compilation means by using Java C. How the Java C will comes to here. So that also I will tell you while we will be going to discuss JVM. And this execution will be done by, there is a keyword called Java. If you will be doing in a command prompt, these commands you need to enter. One is Java C for the compilation. For the execution, you will be going to give Java. Okay. So now compilation and execution, somewhat we understood here. After compilation, we'll be getting bytecode or compiled code. After bytecode, we'll be getting executable code. So finally, what we'll be getting output. So for user understandable language, Java is in which which level it is? It is in high level, but not in mission level. This executable code you can say mission level code also. Mission level code. Okay. So this is what we need to understand here from the high level. Hope you people are understanding this. Yeah. So now after this, yeah, and one more thing, that is the simple concept, platform independent. Java is platform independent. Okay. See, first you need to understand what is platform, right? So what is platform? So this is not any other platforms. So what you people are thinking like railway station platform or bus station platform? No, it is not like that. Platform is nothing but your operating system and processor together, we can say platform. Okay. So if I am writing once, then you can execute in any point of time. See, the thing is, the source code is in one system, that means one platform, and your executable code will be in different systems. Still you could able to get the, I mean uh, not executable code, we can say your compiled code will be in another system. Still you could able to execute your particular Java files. So we are not depending on platform, we are not depending on any operating system or processor. For example, in my system I'll be using Windows plus i3 processor, just assume in that way. Okay. So this is my platform, Windows 7 or 10, whatever it is. So Windows 7 plus i3 processor, we can say it is a platform, right? So for example, your systems are nothing but uh, some people are using Mac, right? Mac and some other processor. Some people are using Windows 10 and i5 processor. Some people are using i7 processor. So based on your capability or based on your situation, based on your availability, you people are using that particular system, that particular platform. Even though if I am using this particular platform, my program, my application should run in your environment as well. So that means this platform independent, Java is a platform independent, and here it is not depending on anyone. So Java is independent. Java is platform independent, but Java is not depending on anyone. So that is what we are understanding here. Operating system and processor together is called platform. That is nothing but your operating system is Windows 7, processor means IT processor or whatever you are using, Core Studio or whatever it is. So write once, run anywhere. So the main intention of platform independent means write once, run anywhere. Okay, write once and run anywhere. So this is the concept of platform independent of Java. See, whatever we are discussing, everything related to Java only. What is Java, right? So you can say these many things. If someone is asking, at least 10 to 15 minutes, you can explain what is Java. Okay. So just now we discussed platform independent. If you have any doubts, you can ping me in the comments. Okay. So robust. Now we'll be going to the robust. So what is robust? First of all, you should understand the meaning of robust, right? So generally, if someone is saying that, so what is robust? Then what you people are thinking? So this is a new new word. We never we never heard about this word, right? So first, so that is the reason you need to enter Google if you don't know any words like this. Okay. So the general meaning of robust is strong and strong and healthy. Okay. Strong and healthy, you can say robust. Okay. See, Java is very strong and very healthy, we can say. See, how we can say healthy? Again, I can say whatever the concepts we have in Java, that will be providing the healthy environment of your applications. Yes, I'm very guaranteed on that. Okay. Not only me, so many people are guaranteed that, because nowadays how the people are working on the Java is like that only. So Java means not only core Java. Okay, Java means there are so many things. There are servlets, there are JSP, there are Spring Framework, there are Hibernate Framework, there are Struts, Spring Boot, everything will comes to Java only, right? So this Java is very strong and healthy. How it is providing that? How we can say here? See here, how you people are saying Java is robust. So that is what the main understanding here. See, so here in Java, there is a strong memory management actually. So there is a strong memory management we have inside the Java. So there is again another concept we have, memory management, right? So that memory management and this garbage collections we'll be discussing in another session. So for now, what is meant by robust means a robust is nothing but strong, and it will be providing a strong memory management. Okay. And here there is no pointers concept, and there is no problems based on the pointers. So because of that also we can say it is robust. And there is, as we discussed, garbage collector, right? So because of that garbage collector, so we have a concept of garbage collection. We can say Java is robust and healthy, right? Whenever the garbage is not there, then it is automatically healthy, right? So that is what the intention here. We can say Java is robust. Robust means strong and healthy, right? So if someone asking more on this robust, right, you can say all the index again. So because of exception handling, because of exception handling, we can say Java is robust. Or we can say because of multi-threading concept, yes, Java is robust. Why? How we can say because of multi-threading, because of exceptions means if there is any problem occurs, if you are handling that problems, then you will be not, I mean it will be not going to break, right? So by using exception handling concept, we will be achieving that things. So we can say Java is robust in the, because of Java is having the concepts of exception handling. And if there is any hundreds of requests coming to the, I mean, if there are hundreds of requests coming to the uh, a web application or server, so this Java application will be, I mean, handled very nicely with the concepts of threads. So that is what the concept of multi-threading. Okay, that is what the concept of multi-threading. We can say Java is robust. So we can say Java is robust because of memory management, because of garbage collection, because of exception handling, and multi-threading as well. Okay, so because of all things, we can say Java is very strong and very robust. Then again, we have one more concept that is in the features. What is that means? That is nothing much. After robust, see, for understanding, I'll be writing here in the simple high level, platform independent, robust, multi-threaded, dynamic, right? Now we'll be going to understand what is multi-threaded. Okay, so multi-threading is a concept. Again in Java, this is one of the concept. What exactly the multi-threading? Okay, see, here only we discuss something like execution. Executable code is there, right? See, mission understanding some language, that mission level code. So if you want to execute something, see that execution process is there, right? Some process. The process is nothing but a thread is like a process. Okay, the thread is like a process for executing something. Okay, see here I have something. If you want to get output, I need to execute something. What we are executing? We are executing bytecode, right? So the bytecode will be going to executable code. Okay, so that executable code will be giving output, but the process is there, right? That whatever the process we have in the execution, the process is nothing but we can say thread. A thread is like a lightweight process. Okay, so a thread is like a sorry, yeah. So what we can say, a thread is like a lightweight process. Okay, and we can say a thread will be going to separate program executing concurrently. So if I will be taking one simple program, so in a program, in a program, if there are multiple tasks, for example, that multiple tasks executing, see here it is one execution, right? So in a program, if you have several tasks, that several in one single program, several tasks executing concurrently, we can say multi-threading. Okay, so the main intention of multi-threading means, see, have you I mean if one thing is completing in 5 seconds, just assume that one task is completing 5 seconds. If I have 10 tasks, if I have 10 tasks, each and every task if I want to complete one by one, then how much time it will be taking? 50 seconds, right? So instead of 50 seconds, if I want to execute all that particular 10 tasks concurrently, then we need to go for the concept of multi-threading. So the simple thing is, if you want to execute multiple things, okay, at a time, then we need to go for the concept of multi-threading. The main advantage of multi-threading is does not occupy memory for each thread. It shares a common memory area. So what does that means? So multi-threading does not occupy memory. Okay, you need to understand this point is very clear. Multi-threaded programming is does not multi-thread programs does not occupy, you can say occupy for each thread, we can say. Okay, so it will be sharing what? It will be sharing a common memory area. Okay, what we this point we will be writing here, it will be sharing common memory area. Okay, so this is what multi-threading we can say in Java. Hope you people are understanding clearly this one, right? And the final thing after after multi-threading, we have one more thing. Again, if you have any doubts on this, you can comment on this. So dynamic loading. So this is dynamic loading. Actually, in C language, we have the concept called hash include. Hash include stdio.h, something like that, right? stdio.h or hash include conio.h. This is C language. If you don't know C language, no worries, it's okay. So conio.h, something like this. See here, standard input output.h, console input output.h, and if you have math.h, and if you have another .h and all. See what is the .h and what is this hash here means. Whenever you will be giving a hash means it's a preprocessor. It will be including all the header files before starting the program. But in Java it is not like that. It is in Java it is not. See, because of this, everything it is pre-processing and including all the header files to the memory. Then even though if there is anything, if you will be using, it will be coming from the header files only, right, in your program. Even though if you are not using, still it will be loading to the memory. So because of this, it will be going to very slow performance. So that is the reason we are not using that. So now in our case, what we'll be going to use means we'll be going to use, that is nothing but, so what we can say, import. Okay, so instead of include, we'll be going for the import. So for example, if I want to use anything, something like java dot util dot some class, okay, util dot array list, for example, I want to use. Okay, so if I'm using array list like this, java dot util dot array list, then inside that array list there is a method. For example, I want to remove one of the object. That particular method only it will be calling. Instead of loading all the things, it will be calling only one particular method. So dynamically it will be calling that particular method, and it will be calling, and it will be going to use. So it will be not loading all the things before going to execute your program. So that is the reason people will be going to the concept of dynamic loading. So this is what the concept of dynamic loading we can say. Okay, so the final thing here, the last one, what we can say is, yeah, so Java is object oriented programming language with security, right? So again, that security, again we can say that security. So now I'll be going to the concept of object oriented programming language. Object oriented programming language, right? See, if you know, if you want to understand what is an object, first you need to understand the concept of class. Okay, hope you are following with me. So now I want to understand about object means, first you need to understand a class. Why should I understand class? Okay, I'll come to that. So this is partially done. Now we'll be going to the concept of class, because you want to understand object oriented programming language, then you need to understand the class first. So that is the reason I am coming here. So we have a definition, very, I mean, everywhere we are using the definition, something like class, right? So what is exactly the class? Okay, a class is nothing but, a class is a, see, I mean, that is your choice how you want to take. Class is a blueprint of an object. Okay, but most of the people don't know what is blueprint. See, here you need to understand exactly. So you need to understand the blueprint meaning first, and we'll be going for object actually. See, a class is a blueprint of an object. Okay, and here our doubt is, what is blueprint? See, blueprint is nothing but, class is a design. Okay, a blueprint is nothing but a design, or A blueprint is nothing but a plan, or a blueprint is nothing but architecture. Okay. See, the general meaning of blueprint is design, plan, architecture. Then can we say a class is a design of an object? Can we say a class is a plan of an object? Can we say class is a architecture of an object? Yes, you can say a class is a design of an object. So a class is a plan of an object. Okay. So a class is just a design or just a plan. So the plan will be taking any memory? No, right? So a class here, just assume that a class will be not taking any memory. Okay. And it is just architecture. See how we are, if you want to build anything, first we'll be taking some architecture in the paper, right? So that is what a class. So if you want to build a house, first in the paper we are drawing that house, right? That house diagram is called a blueprint. That house diagram, we can say a class here. So a class is a blueprint of whom? A class is a blueprint of an object. So that is what we are understanding here exactly. Okay. So again, other than this, what we can say class. So this is enough actually. So here what we can say means this design or plan, we can say technical drawing. So a technical drawing is called a class. Blueprint is nothing but that only. A technical drawing is nothing but a blueprint. Okay. See, if you want to buy a house, first what they will be giving a brochure, right? Inside that brochure, what you will be having. So inside that brochure, they'll say, they're saying that this is the square feet like 1200 SFT and all, and this is like hall, and this is for master bedroom, kitchen, and everything, right? They'll be showing in the paper. But is it a real? No, right? It is not a real. It is dummy. So the dummy is called a class. The plan is called a class. That architecture or the paper, whatever you can say, so that is called a class, we can say. If you want to represent anything, then you will be choosing a class. So that is why in Java, everything we will be writing in a class, because we are representing, we have a plan. So that plan we will be going to write into a class. So from the class, for whom we are creating a class? For this object. Then we need to understand what is an object. Hope you cleared with the class. Now I'll be going with the object. Now again, people are saying that what is an object? Object is a instance of a class. See, class is a blueprint of an object and object is an instance of a class. Then what is an instance here? See, instance means what exactly means? It's example. See, here we know that class is a plan. It is a just plan. Then we need to understand for this plan, what is a real, right? So instance means here we can say object is a real time. Okay, what we can say? Real time entity. So any real time entity you can say an object. For this particular plan, we have something like real, right? That real time entity you can say an object. So that is what here we are discussing. Object is a real time entity. Okay, object is a real time entity. So again, your plan is having any memory? No, right? It's a just plan. The plan doesn't have any memory, but your real time entity will have some memory, right? So we can say a dynamic memory allocation. Then dynamic memory allocation we can have inside the object. Object means a object is dynamic memory allocated entity, we can say. So dynamic memory allocation will happen at object creation. So that is what we need to understand, right? So here what we can say simply means class is plan where object is real. Okay. So then what is exactly the meaning of instance? Instance is an example are occurrences of something. Okay, so object is a example of this particular class. See, in the class I am showing something like in the paper, but for this paper, this is what the real example. So that is what the intention of instance. Instance means just like an example. So object is an example of your class. Okay. So object is a real-time entity and it will be going to allocate the memory dynamically is called object. So in Java, everything you will be writing inside the classes for each and every class. See, everything will be writing inside the class with the program, and each and every class is having the, I mean, each and every, I mean, if you are creating a plan for each and every class is having the object, right? So that is where in Java everything is a class. So in class means nothing but is an object. Class means proof of object, right? Like, I mean, whatever that class you will be creating for that particular class, what are the examples means object of the examples. So that is where we can say class is nothing but object, but whereas class is dummy, object is real. Okay, so but we cannot say like Java is class oriented programming, then it will be going to dummy, right? That is the reason here we are saying that Java is object oriented programming language. Okay, so Java is object oriented programming language because of in Java everything is an object. In Java everything is a class. That is the meaning what is object oriented programming language. Okay, because everything will be preparing in a class. So if you want to accomplish your class means you should create an object, right? So then we can say your Java language is object oriented programming language. So we'll be going to the next session with the examples. Then we'll be understanding exactly what is class and what is the things and all. So here we can say a class is nothing but house construction plan. Okay, house construction plan is called a class, whereas object is your house. Object is house. Okay, house construction plan is called a class, whereas house is an object. See, then where we can say what is reference. Okay, your house address, right? That house address we can say that is called reference. So these things will be understanding slowly again once we'll be going to the programming program with the examples. Okay, so this is what is Java and why we are going for Java features. But till again still didn't, I mean, did we discuss any uh, I mean, did we discuss any what we can say terminologies means? We discussed some terminologies, but I will be clearly explain that terminologies in the next session. Okay, so this is what for the introduction of second introduction of this particular what is Java and why Java features. Okay, so thank you.